everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And today we're going to be doing a taste test of Bestpresso pods. Now, if you've been following me on TikTok, maybe I'll put some videos here. I have been trying out these pods in different recipes. I've been giving, my little unboxing videos on there. Overall, I've been really liking these pods and my lattes and shaken espressos, but I did want to do a full-on honest review on my YouTube, just trying these plain with no sugar or no cream to give you guys, again, my honest opinion of the pods. And I'll be the first to admit that I really didn't know about Bestpresso until I became an affiliate of theirs. So I'll give you guys the rundown on what Bestpresso is in the case you don't know. Overall, it seems like Bestpresso is a third-party pod supplier. They do pods for Nespresso compatible machines. So if you have an Nespresso Creatista, or if you have an Essenza Mini, Essenza, Pixies, all that fun stuff, you can use their pods on their website to make coffee every morning with your machine. If you also have a Keurig, and you happen to be watching my videos, then you can also buy Keurig pods on their website as well. I believe they might supply to stores like Walmart and such, but I know for a fact they're on Amazon, and I know that they're on their own Bestpresso website. And you feel free to check them out in my link tree below in the description, or on any of my social media platforms. I'll have them linked as well. So with all that said, I did become an affiliate of theirs. I did reach out to one of the affiliate representatives because I wanted to get some discount codes for you all to make coffee making more affordable. So if you do want to have those discount codes, I have them in my description below, and you can check out my link tree and such from my link as well. But overall, the representative was super, super sweet. And in addition to buying some of my own pods from them, she also sent me just a bunch of free samples. This is 120 pods of the Intenso pod. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot of pods. This is a lot of coffee. I don't know how I'm gonna get through it. I really appreciate Bestpresso sending me these free things, and I'm officially on a pod no buy. That's all y'all need to know. But in addition to their Intenso pods that they sent me, I'm also going to be reviewing the Brazil pod that they have, and I bought the Brazil pod and these couple others on my own volition. These are their regular espresso pods I'm going to be trying, as well as the Carmelo pod. So I'm excited to give you guys a review of those today. But before I get into it, I did want to say everything that I'm going to be sharing in this video, my views, my opinions, my perspective, are all strictly my own. They're not of YouTube's, they're not of Bestpresso. I'm going to give you guys my own honest review of these pods and how I think of them without any syrup or any cream. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm thinking we try their regular espresso first, and we'll see how that tastes. Just off the bat, I know that this pod is supposed to be an intensity 8, so it's definitely not too high, definitely not too low. They have a similar rating scale as Nespresso, where I believe it's going to be from 1 to 12. And so this one's going to be a solid 8, a little bit on the darker side, but it's supposed to have some hazelnut and lime notes. So let's see if we can taste that. Okay, so I just brewed the regular espresso pod, and off the bat, the pod went into my machine, brewed, and then left the machine just like any other Nespresso pod. But I will say, just looking at the crema of the espresso, I don't know if you guys can see that, I don't want to spill it, but the microfoam of the crema is definitely not the same. I don't know if it has to do with the quality of the beans, how they're roasted, all that other fun stuff, how long it's been since they've been roasted and ground, but there are a lot of bubbles in the crema that usually you wouldn't have when you have Nespresso. It also looks like there just might be some general, the oils and the residue of the coffee in the crema as well, which usually doesn't happen with Nespresso pods. So let's give it a taste. It smells kind of sweet, and it smells like hazelnut. That's really interesting. That's really nice. So really, just when tasting it, I get a lot of that citrusy lime, that lemon that they're talking about. So the flavor profiles that they picked for this are right on. I definitely see why it's an intensity 8. Definitely a kind of a kick in the face, kind of that sour taste that you would get with the Italian line in the actual Nespresso brand. And I think it's really good. I don't think it's too intense, and I don't think it's not enough. I know the last thing I want is a weak cup of coffee, let alone espresso, so I do think that this is pretty good. Wow. Yeah, and it's nice and complex. Usually with third parties, I'm a little bit worried that it's not complex, but the sourness and the citrusiness of the lime in the beginning does taste pretty good. In addition to the flavor profiles and the smell, I did notice, just as a side note, that the crema does dissipate pretty fast with these Bestpresso pods. Again, don't know why that is. Something tells me it's just how long ago they ground the bean. I'm guessing these are probably not the freshest of beans that you'll be able to have. But overall, my rating of this would be a 7 out of 10. I do really like this pod. I'm very impressed with it. And I do think, to be quite frank, for $4.99 for a pack of 10 of these, that they're extremely budget friendly. So if you are a young person or somebody like me who is on a budget, I do like to have, let's say, 4 shots of espresso, sometimes in my shaken espressos, and that can be a lot of Nespresso pods to go through. So just to have a nice cup of coffee that gets the job done while also tasting really good, it is a win-win for me. With that being said, I do like the punch and the kick that comes with this pod. And I think it's kind of complex and kind of nice. So I do think it is a 7 out of 10. Would I buy this again out of the other ones? Most likely, if I don't really like the other ones, black. But I do think this is a good alternative for some of your regular Nespresso pods that you might not want to spend as much money to get. Okay, so the next one I'm going to try is the Brazil pod. Now, the Brazil pod, I think, tastes pretty okay with the lattes that I've had with it. I am a little bit confused by the description because it's not supposed to be a super intense pod, but it's also supposed to be kind of malty and kind of grain-like. So we'll see. I'm kind of expecting a little bit more out of a more like exotic pod. Like if you're actually getting the beans from like, let's say a South American country like Brazil, I would expect the flavor profile to be a little bit different, which I feel like, for example, the Rio de Janeiro pod in the Nespresso line is absolutely amazing, and I do really like its complexity and herbalness. I don't think that this is going to have it right off the bat, but I could be surprised. So let's give it a taste and see what we think. I just brewed the Brazil pod, and honestly, same type of thing. Still some microfoam bubbles in the crema, as well as that coffee residue in the brew. So again, kind of different. This one does smell kind of malty. Definitely a little bit like almost like spicier than the other one. That's interesting. It's supposed to be a level intensity 9, so we'll see. Let's give it a taste. Okay. Definitely, I guess, more malty. Definitely not as sour though as the other one. Like not as limey, not as citrusy. But if I had to like describe this in one word, it would be green. It's a little herbally, a little malty, with a hint of sweetness as it goes down. So I guess you could call it complex. It's just different. I do think it's not bad. I don't think I would buy this one again. I would probably buy the other one again. So I think I'm going to go with a 6 on this one. That's my rating for this. Again, if you do like something a little bit more complex, I do think that this is an option for you. But yeah, that's my review, rating 6. And that's where I'm going to keep it, okay? Let's move on to the Carmelo pod. Now, before we move on, I did want to say something a little bit different about these pods is that some of them come with the tin on top and just a little bit of like a different foil material than like, for example, the Intenso one. Like, I don't know what the difference in packaging has to do with the quality of how good it's going to brew. I will say that I think that these Carmelo pods tend to leak grounds a little bit more. Maybe it's just because I'm hard on my pods when I'm like searching for them in my bin. But I have noticed that some grounds start seeping out of these with this material. So we'll let you have that in mind before buying them. But I've been really liking the taste of this pod in my lattes more so than the others. So let's give it a blank taste test. But I do think it's worth noting that don't, I guess, like be careful because the membrane is a little bit soft, I guess you could say. Okay, so I just brewed the Carmelo pod, and overall the smell is absolutely divine. This smells like caramel candy as it's being brewed in your home. And I absolutely love and adore that. Again, there is this like ring of coffee ground or residue or something like that that keeps forming. Again, different than the Nespresso pods, but smell 10 out of 10. This smells really good. I don't know how they do it. Ugh. Okay, let's give it a taste. Okay, so the flavor profile says it's supposed to be caramelly sweet. I definitely get that coming across in the smell, but in terms of the taste, it just kind of tastes a little bit weak. Not super complex whatsoever. The other ones I've tasted so far have definitely been more complex. I think if you generally enjoy flavored big cups of coffee and espressos, I think you'll really, really like this pod, the Carmelo pod, because the smell is there, somewhat of the taste is there, but again, it wouldn't be a preference for me to buy this personally again. With that being said, I would give this a 6.5 out of 10, just because it's not bad, and I do like it, but personally, like, when I'm thinking about caramel and creamy, I'm thinking about the Bianco Doppio pod, right? Or even the Bianco Piccolo pod. I know it's supposed to be a little bit nuttier, but the intensity comes across in the creaminess of the pod, the texture, everything about it. So I think in comparison to that, I don't think that the texture is there. I don't think the sweetness of the espresso is there like they said it needs to be, but I do think that the caramel-esque flavor, it's almost like an artificial caramel, it is there. So I do think if you generally like flavored coffees, you will like this. So with that being said, again, 6.5 out of 10, and then we'll try our last pod, the Intenso pod. So I brewed the Intenso pod, and the notes are supposed to be smoky, intense, with a hint of raspberry. So just when like smelling it, definitely a smoky smell, kind of like tobacco almost, which is really interesting. Like ashy. It's pretty crazy. Definitely not as much coffee residue in this crema forming than the other ones, but it is starting to get there, and I notice it. Microfoam bubbles are about the same. So let's give it a taste. So this is supposed to be an intensity 12. Do I think that this is the intensity of like Napoli, like the punch in the face that Napoli and such brings to the Nespresso line? No. I think that this is definitely a darker roasted espresso. Like I can taste that and it comes across, but it's definitely not too much of a punch in the face. So I think the average espresso lover will really enjoy this pod. I definitely get that smoky flavor in it. I'm not getting any raspberry whatsoever though. No, I'm really not. A lot of it is just smoky, and it's not even that super intense. So it just definitely tastes like it's been cooked. Okay, like it's been smoked, and that's what it tastes like. I'm actually really impressed that they got that coming across really well. But other than that, I'm not getting any of the other profiles from this. I am surprised that it is a 12 and it's not smacking me in the face, and I could probably just drink it like this. With that, it has held up to shaken espressos and lattes. Like I can still very much taste the coffee in it. But out of all of them, I really do think the first one I tried, the regular espresso, was the most intense, surprisingly. So with that being said, despite me usually not liking punches in the face when I'm drinking coffee, I would have to say that my favorite one again was the regular espresso. Love the complexity, really like the nuttiness to it, as well as that citrusy kick in the beginning. In terms of a rating for the Intenso pod, I do think I'm going to give it another 6.5 out of 10. It was kind of right there with the Carmelo because both of them have qualities that I usually would like, but I don't know if I would buy either of these again just because there has been a pod, the regular one, that I have really liked. So with that being said, would I buy Bestpresso again? Absolutely, I would. I think that the price, you can't beat it. Again, I go through pods very fast. I was talking with you guys in some of the comments. Y'all share my love for coffee in terms of using like 4 shots in one beverage. But just due to my preferences, I do think that this is a very affordable option for most people. And I think that this the price of something shouldn't deter you from making coffee at home that you really enjoy. So with that being said, I do think Bestpresso is a great bargain. I think they're a great third-party line. Do I like all of their pods? No, not necessarily. I don't think any of them are bad that I've tried, but my preference says I would probably only buy the Bestpresso one again, and maybe the Carmelo if I'm looking for a more caramelly coffee. So that is my full review of the Bestpresso pods that I have. If you guys are thinking about buying any of the Bestpresso pods but really want my review first, please let me know. I'd be happy to review them for you on this channel before you go out and bite the bullet and buy them. If you do really want to try Bestpresso, feel free to, again, use any of the discounts in my description, use my link below or in my link tree, and I hope that helps, you know, make coffee making more affordable for y'all. And before I end out this video, I did want to share that I'm really hoping to do a coffee chat Q&A to get to know more about you guys and you guys get to know more about me. So please feel free to submit some questions down below so we can have a little bit of a chat in my future video. You can do that in my comment section or on my social media profiles. I'll link them below. And yeah, submit those questions. I'm hoping to answer as many as possible in my future video. I'll put a deadline for questions as June 15th, and then I'll start recording that video. But in order to encourage question asking, I did want to do a little bit of a giveaway. So if you do comment down below with your questions or submit questions on my social media profile, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel, I will be giving 5 of you guys 2 boxes each of these Intenso Bestpresso pods. You guys can do a free Bestpresso tasting. Again, this was not Bestpresso's idea, but honestly, I have way too many pods right now. So I will be keeping a couple of these, but I did want to give 2 each to 5 winners for this little giveaway contest. So again, feel free to submit a question, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll pick 5 of you guys at random to do the giveaway on. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'm looking forward to talking with you guys on the flip side. Bye.